Tibet, the land of majestic snow-covered mountains and profound Buddhist culture, always attracts travelers with its pristine and mysterious beauty. From the magnificent Potala Palace in Lhasa, once the residence of the Dalai Lamas, to Jokang Temple, one of the most sacred temples in Tibetan Buddhism. From Drepung Monastery, one of the 3 largest monasteries in Tibetan Buddhism, to Sera Monastery, famous for its lively monastic debates, these are must-see places for anyone interested in the spiritual and historical depth of Buddhism. From Lake Manasar Arova, the sacred lake lying at the foot of Mount Kailash, to the Yarlung Tsangpo Grand Canyon, known as the Grand Canyon of Tibet, offering a breathtaking and majestic natural landscape. Let's explore Tibet, a place that is not only a travel destination, but also a spiritual journey, where every site carries meaningful stories of history and culture. Mount Everest, the highest mountain in the world, rises in the Himalayas and is often called the roof of the earth. With a height of about 29,000 feet above sea level, it has become the ultimate symbol of human conquest. The climate here is extremely harsh. At the summit, temperatures can drop below -76 degrees Fahrenheit, while winds often exceed 100 miles per hour. Above 26,000 feet, the air is so thin that oxygen levels are only about 1/3 of what they are at sea level, creating the so-called death zone. Everest also carries secrets of geology. Fossils of marine creatures have been discovered near the summit, proving that hundreds of millions of years ago, this place was under the ocean. The mountain still rises a few millimeters every year and can change height slightly after major earthquakes. Today, Everest is both a deadly challenge with its massive glaciers and climbing routes that take months to complete, and a natural laboratory where scientists study climate change, thin atmosphere, and the limits of human endurance. Chimpu meditation caves are considered the oldest meditation cave system in Tibet, where hundreds of caves still preserve traces of meditation practices over thousands of years. This is also where Padmasambhava once meditated and taught his disciples, turning this place into an original school of Tibetan Buddhism. Beyond its spiritual history, Chimpu is remarkable for its stable highland climate. At an elevation of over 14,000 feet, the area remains unusually mild. Summers are not too hot, and winters are not too cold, allowing practitioners to stay throughout the year. Historically, Chimpu was also a place where Buddhist scriptures were hidden to avoid destruction. Some have been discovered, while others remain buried underground, making this site a priceless, living library of Tibetan Buddhism. Reting Monastery is one of the oldest monasteries in Tibet, built in the 11th century. With more than 900 years of existence, it not only preserves the original values of the Kadampa tradition, but also stands as a living testimony to the depth of Tibetan Buddhism. Throughout its long history, Reting became a center of religious power closely tied to the Reting Rinpoches. They were not only respected spiritual leaders, but also took on the special mission of identifying the next Dalai Lama, a responsibility that shaped the destiny of Tibetan Buddhism. Although it suffered heavy destruction during the Cultural Revolution, Reting has been rebuilt and revived. Today, it is a unique destination where visitors can admire ancient architecture and touch the very roots of Tibetan Buddhist heritage. Drigung Til Monastery is located in Majokungar County, about more than 100 miles from Lhasa. Perched on the southern slope of a mountain at an elevation of 14,630 feet, it stands like a fortress among the clouds. From the main courtyard, visitors can admire the full view of the Shorong Valley, stretching almost 180 degrees, a rare sight on the Tibetan plateau. The monastery was founded in the year 1179 by Jigten Sumgon, the founder of the Drikung Kagyu lineage. For over 8 centuries, it has been a major center for training monks, nurturing and passing on an important branch of Tibetan Buddhism. Its name also carries a unique legend. It was said that a female yak guided the founder to this very place. Through many upheavals, from the Mongol destruction in 1290 to the Cultural Revolution, the monastery was once heavily damaged. Yet since the 1980s, it has been restored, and today houses about 300 monks. Most notably, Drigung Til is also one of the 3 largest sites in the world that still practice the sky burial ritual, a rare spiritual tradition that continues to this day. The ruins of the Guj Kingdom lie in Zanda County, Nagari, on a clay hill more than 300 meters high, appearing from afar like a city carved out of the cliffs. Covering an area of over 700,000 square meters, it once included palaces, monasteries, fortresses, and residential quarters. Showcasing the power of an influential center in ancient Tibet. This unique position also allowed a full view of the Sutlej Valley, turning Guj into both a defensive stronghold and a key gateway for trade. Inside the site, many monasteries and caves still preserve hundreds of murals, Buddha statues, and wooden structures dating back centuries. Thanks to the dry climate, they remain almost intact, creating a rare open-air art museum that reflects the fusion of Tibetan, Indian, and Nepalese cultures. Guja was also a major Buddhist center, with Tholing and Saparang monasteries spreading sacred texts from India to Tibet. However, this kingdom collapsed rapidly in the 17th century, leaving an unsolved mystery that has led scholars to call Guj the Atlantis of the plateau. Zanda Earth Forest in Ngari, Tibet, is one of the most magnificent natural wonders of the plateau. Located in the Sutlej River Valley, it stretches for dozens of kilometers, unfolding like a colossal fossil city. The landscape captivates with countless cliffs, canyons, and earthen towers of fantastic shapes, some resembling castles, others like giant deities. At sunset, the entire forest turns into a blazing sea of fire, leaving visitors and photographers in awe. The origin of this earth forest began with ancient marine sediments and alluvial soil, which over millions of years were carved by wind, water, and glaciers into these natural sculptures. The stark difference between daytime and nighttime temperatures, along with heavy rains, continuously reshapes the scenery. More than just a tourist attraction, this is also a living geological museum. The colorful layers of earth and rock preserve traces of ancient marine fossils, offering invaluable insight into the climate history and tectonic evolution of the Tibetan plateau. Barkor is the oldest street in Lhasa, dating back to the 7th century when King Songtsen Gampo and Princess Wencheng led the migration to this land. After the construction of Jokhang, Tibetan Buddhists began walking around the temple, slowly forming a sacred path. Barkor became one of the 3 great pilgrimage circuits of Lhasa and is revered as the Holy Road. On this street, visitors can witness thousands of devotees prostrating, each step accompanied by a full-body bow and prayer. This unique ritual is not only a religious practice, but also a rare experience that reflects the enduring faith of the Tibetan people. The layout of Barkor follows a circular pilgrimage route where every step must be taken clockwise. Along both sides of the street are ancient houses and shops that preserve the original Tibetan architecture, while the largest traditional market in Lhasa offers incense, silver, thangka paintings, and distinctive handicrafts. Lake Manasarova, located in Nungari district beneath Mount Kailash, is known as the highest natural freshwater lake in the world, standing at more than 4,500 meters above sea level. Spanning an area of about 320 square kilometers, the lake shines like a turquoise jewel amid the dry Tibetan plateau. What makes it even more fascinating is that right next to Manasarova lies Lake Rakshastal, a dark, salty body of water. The sharp contrast between the two, one clear and fresh, the other somber and saline, creates a unique and mysterious natural landscape, unlike anywhere else. Beyond its natural beauty, Manasarova is also a spiritual heart for four major religions: Hinduism, Buddhism, Jainism, and Bon. Pilgrims believe that bathing in or drinking from the lake cleanses sins and brings spiritual rebirth. From a scientific perspective, the lake is nearly perfectly round, with a diameter of about 27 kilometers. Fed by melting glaciers, its waters remain remarkably pure. This makes Manasarova not only a sacred site of pilgrimage, but also a natural laboratory for global climate research. Yarlung Tsangpo Grand Canyon, also called Tsangpo Gorge or Brahmaputra Canyon, is considered the deepest canyon on land and longer than the Grand Canyon in the United States, stretching for more than 500 kilometers. The average depth of the canyon is 2,268 meters, while the deepest point reaches 6,009 meters, 3 times that of the Grand Canyon. Beyond its geological wonders, this place hosts 9 ecological zones ranging from tropical rainforests to eternal snow. It is seen as a living gene bank, home to about 1/3 of Tibet's vascular plants and rare wildlife such as the snow leopard, Bengal tiger, and musk deer. The Yarlung Tsangpo Grand Canyon also carries deep cultural and spiritual meaning for Tibetans. Visitors are awed by misty mountains, radiant sunsets, powerful waterfalls, and vast virgin forests, together painting a mesmerizing and mystical natural masterpiece. Lamo Latso is a sacred lake in Shannon, Tibet, regarded as the most important oracle lake in Tibetan Buddhism. Tibetans believe that when the mind is calm, the lake's surface can reveal mystical images reflecting the future. On clear days, the water shines a deep jade green, but when clouds gather, it turns gray, as if the lake itself had moods. Today, Lamo Lazzo is both a sacred pilgrimage site and a natural observatory for scientists studying climate change, while also offering adventurous travelers a spiritual yet Ningxi Tangula is an important part of the Tangula Mountains, the natural boundary between the Yangtze River Basin and the Yellow River Basin. Towering peaks over 6,000 meters remain snow-covered all year, shaping a land both majestic and challenging to human exploration. The climate here is extremely harsh. Thin air, strong winds, and intense solar radiation. In just a few minutes, the weather can shift from bright sunshine to snowstorms, turning Tangula into a natural outdoor weather station. These conditions create a scarce ecosystem where only resilient plants like mosses, lichens, and cold-resistant grasses can survive. Not only a massive ice reservoir, this region also holds ancient layers of ice and snow, preserving valuable records of climate from thousands of years ago. The extreme altitude forces the human body to increase heart rate and breathing, creating a unique physical experience of the Tibetan plateau. The Jokang Temple is located at Bakhor Square, built around the year 640 by King Songtsen Gampo to house the statue of Jowo Mikyo Dorji. For more than 13 centuries, it has been considered the most sacred Tibetan Buddhist temple, the most important religious center of Lhasa, and is often called the spiritual heart of Tibet. In the year 2000, Jokang Temple was recognized by UNESCO as a World Heritage Site, together with the Potala Palace and Norbalinka. Its uniqueness lies in the diverse architecture blending Tibetan, Indian, Nepalese, and Chinese styles into a structure that is both majestic and distinctive. Inside, the temple preserves the golden statue of Jowo Shakyamuni, the most revered treasure for Tibetan Buddhists. Every day, thousands of pilgrims come here, prostrating around the site to pray, creating a powerful and living religious scene. The ceilings and columns of the temple are decorated with gold, silver, and precious stones, reflecting absolute devotion to Buddhism. Drepung Monastery in Lhasa is a grand religious site tied to the history of Tibet. Built in the year 1416 by Jamyang Choje, a disciple of Tsongkhapa, the founder of the Gelug school, Drepung was once the largest monastery in the world, with more than 10,000 monks at its peak. Seen from afar, the vast white complex, stretching across the slopes of Mount Gambo Utse, resembles a mountain of rice, which is also the meaning of the name Drepung. Not only massive in scale, Drepung is also a leading academic center. It has been compared to a Buddhist university, training many scholars and eminent lamas who carried forward the Gelug tradition. Before the Potala Palace became a symbol, Drepung was the residence of several Dalai Lamas, serving as the spiritual and political heart of Tibet for a long period. Today, during the Shotom festival, a giant thangka is unfurled on the hillside near the monastery, attracting tens of thousands of devotees and visitors. This event makes Drepung not only a sacred destination, but also a cultural gathering place filled with unforgettable vibrance. Rawak Lake lies at an elevation of nearly 4,000 meters, where the air is thin and crisp. Making visitors immediately feel the difference in every breath. The lake is mainly formed by melting glaciers, giving it a distinctive jade green color rarely seen in other lakes on the Tibetan plateau. As the largest lake in the eastern Namcha Bawa region, Rawak Lake is considered a natural observatory for scientists to study climate change. Its water temperature shifts with the seasons, causing the colors to transform: deep blue in summer, jade green in autumn, and cold gray in winter. Beyond its scientific value, Rawak Lake provides a vital habitat for many cold water fish species and migratory birds, enriching the ecosystem of the snowy mountains. The harmony between spectacular scenery and scientific importance makes this lake an especially attractive stop for anyone visiting Yingqi. Yenshan Tangla Mountain, located in Nak, Tibet, is one of the most sacred and majestic ranges on the Tibetan plateau. Its main peak rises over 7,000 meters, making it the highest mountain in northern Tibet, and often referred to as the Alps on the roof of the world. Beyond its natural beauty, this mountain holds deep significance in Bon and Tibetan Buddhism. Local people see Nyenshen Tangla as the guardian deity of Nagu, tied to many ancient legends, and traditional rituals of reverence are still practiced every year. The range is considered a natural water factory, as its melting snow and ice feed many large lakes, including the sacred Namtso Lake. The massive glaciers of Nyenchen Tanglha also give birth to several rivers that flow across the plateau. For scientists, the mountain serves as a natural observatory. Its ice and geological layers preserve traces of climate change over thousands of years, while the harsh climate, with large temperature differences between day and night, allows only resilient species like Tibetan antelopes, wild yaks, and high-altitude birds of prey to survive. With snow-capped peaks that change colors throughout the day, Nyenchen Tanglha has become one of the most attractive destinations in Tibet for trekking, mountaineering, and photography. Yerpa Meditation Caves, located on the high mountain slopes more than 30 kilometers from Lhasa, are considered one of the most sacred and ancient meditation sites in Tibet. With a history of more than 1,000 years, this complex is associated with many revered masters, and especially King Songtsen Gampo, who chose this place for meditation, marking a spiritual journey with deep historical value. At an altitude of nearly 5,000 meters, the thin and harsh air has trained the will of those who came to practice. The dry and cold climate, along with strong winds, not only created a setting for ascetic life, but also helped preserve many caves and precious relics for centuries. Today, visitors can still see more than 100 caves, many of which retain their ancient structures. Inside, murals and Buddha statues remain intact, reflecting the early development of Tibetan Buddhism. From the cave entrances, the entire Lhasa Valley unfolds, creating a harmony between majestic nature and a tranquil meditative space. Built in the year 1419, Sera Monastery is one of the 3 largest monasteries of the Gelug school in Tibetan Buddhism. The name Sera means wild rose, tied to the land once covered with these flowers, giving the place both ancient dignity and a touch of legend. More than just a religious site, the monastery served as one of Tibet's greatest centers of learning. Thousands of monks studied here, training generations of lamas and scholars while preserving sacred Buddhist texts, including rare manuscripts written in gold and silver ink. What makes Sera Monastery truly remarkable is its tradition of Buddhist debates. Monks engage with powerful gestures, sharp claps, and piercing logic, transforming the courtyard into a vibrant arena of intellectual practice. Spread across the northern slopes of Lhasa, the monastery includes many shrines, lecture halls, and wide courtyards, blending religious architecture with the grandeur of nature. Here, visitors encounter not only sacred silence, but also the chance to witness the unique cultural and educational spirit that makes Sera an unforgettable destination. Samye Monastery, the very first Buddhist monastery of Tibet, was built in the 8th century during the reign of King Trisong Detsen under the guidance of the Indian master Padmasambhava. What makes Samye remarkable is its unique mandala design. The entire complex was constructed as a miniature universe, with the main hall representing Mount Meru and 4 subsidiary temples symbolizing the 4 continents. Beyond architecture, Samye was also the site of the Great Debate between Indian and Chinese Buddhist schools in the 8th century, an event that shaped Tibetan Buddhist philosophy. The monastery is surrounded by massive walls stretching for miles, with 4 gates facing the cardinal directions, symbolizing the protection of the universe. Today, Samye preserves rare artifacts such as Buddha statues and Thangka paintings dating from the 8th to the 10th century. Visitors can not only witness its historic treasures, but also immerse themselves in a vibrant spiritual space where traditional rituals like chanting, prayer ceremonies, and kora are Yamdrok Tso is one of the 3 largest freshwater lakes in Tibet, located in the south-central plateau about more than 60 miles southwest of Lhasa. The lake stretches for more than 45 miles, surrounded by snow-capped mountains all year and fed by many small streams, creating a majestic yet mysterious landscape full of vitality. Resting at an altitude of more than 14,400 feet above sea level, Yamdrok Tso is considered one of the highest large lakes in the world. Tibetans believe it to be the guardian lake of the land, tied to life and prosperity. They also hold the belief that if the lake dries up, Tibet would lose its very source of life, a conviction that makes it one of the most sacred pilgrimage destinations. The lake's unique shoreline curves into the shape of a giant scorpion, stretching endlessly. Its waters shift colors with light and natural minerals, sometimes turquoise, sometimes deep blue, and even golden, like a living mirror on the Tibetan plateau.
Pangong Tso Lake lies at an elevation of more than 4,300 meters above sea level. making it one of the highest saltwater lakes in the world. With a length of more than 134 kilometers, the lake stretches across two countries, with only one-third of its area in Tibet and the rest in India. A rare feature is that despite being a saltwater lake, Pangong Tso can freeze completely in winter when temperatures drop to extreme levels. The icy climate and thin air at this altitude create a truly unique experience for visitors who come here. The lake is also famous for its magical ability to change colors, sometimes turquoise, sometimes deep blue, or even silver depending on the time of day and the light, like a living mirror spread across the plateau. Beyond its beauty, Pangong Tso has great ecological value. It is a resting place for many rare migratory birds, including the brown-headed gull, making it an attractive natural observation site.
Norbulinka Palace is located in the city of Lhasa, Tibet, and is known as the Jewel Garden of this land. From the 18th century until before 1959, it served as the summer palace of the Dalai Lamas, closely tied to many important political and religious events. With an area of more than 36 hectares, Norbulinka is the largest garden in Tibet. Inside it contains more than 400 plant species, including rare trees that can only grow at an altitude above 3,600 meters, showcasing a unique gardening technique on the harsh plateau. The palace was begun in 1755 during the time of the 7th Dalai Lama and was continuously expanded, forming a complex of more than 370 rooms. Beyond its historical value, it also preserves precious Thangka paintings and murals that reflect Tibetan Buddhist art and culture. Every summer, Norbulinka becomes the center of the Shoton Festival with traditional Tibetan opera performances and thousands of pilgrims. In 2001, the palace was recognized by UNESCO as a World Cultural Heritage Site, affirming its global value in history, religion, and art. Gyantse is considered a historic strategic town in Tibet, once serving as a military fortress and an important trading hub on the route connecting Lhasa with India. In the 15th century, it was even the capital of a small kingdom, proving Gyantse's special political status in history. The ancient Gyantse Dzong fortress, standing on a high hill, is a striking landmark built in the 14th century. It was once a strong defensive site, and still remains today as a symbol of history. Gyantse is also famous for its ancient Buddhist murals and traditional architecture, reflecting the pure artistic essence of Tibet. The structures here were built with special techniques, allowing them to endure the harsh climate of the plateau. Today, Gyantse preserves its peaceful rhythm of life and has not been heavily commercialized. This authenticity makes it a living museum of traditional Tibetan life and culture. Mind-Rolling Monastery in Shannon, Tibet, is one of the 6 largest Nyingma monasteries of Tibetan Buddhism, founded in the year 1670 by Terdak Lingpa. The name Mind-Rolling means place of perfect enlightenment, clearly reflecting the original purpose of the monastery. For more than 3 centuries, this place has not only been a center for Buddhist studies, but also an ancient university of Tibet, teaching astronomy, medicine, arts, and tantric practice. Because of this, Mind-Rolling contributed to creating a rich and diverse body of knowledge. The monastery is also famous as a treasure house, preserving many rare ancient Buddhist scriptures, playing a vital role in protecting the culture and spiritual heritage of Tibet. It is also the training ground of many great lamas, tulkus, and scholars who have had a wide influence on Tibetan Buddhism. Although destroyed many times by natural disasters and historical events, Mind-Rolling has been rebuilt, continuing to shine as a cultural and spiritual center that attracts pilgrims and visitors from around the world. Kata Valley, Tibet, is a remarkable valley located on the eastern side of Everest within the Shigatse region. Unlike the well-known routes through Nepal or Tingri, this place has retained its rare wilderness. This valley embraces an incredibly diverse landscape, from lush meadows and temperate shrub forests to glacial lakes and snowy peaks. Everything blends together into scenery that is both gentle and majestic. This uniqueness makes Kata Valley a true green oasis, standing out on the dry plateau of Tibet. Kata Valley is also known as a unique gateway leading to the Kangshung Face, the eastern side of Everest. It is a trekking route full of challenges, yet explorers consider it one of the most beautiful journeys on Earth. Beyond nature, The valley is tied to history. In the early 20th century, it served as an important stop for Everest expeditions, leaving behind stories that remain both mysterious and captivating today.